Everybody, thank you for joining on this live webinar on the 12 steps to more leads, customers, and growth from pay-per-click. So if you are listening to this on a recording, please start joining us on our webinars. Usually they're weekly for some education. And thank you all for joining us here live. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the question box. Let's get going here so you guys can get back to your day. So again, this is the 12 steps to more leads, customers, and growth through pay-per-click. It's really the small business's guide to pay-per-click marketing. You probably have all heard of pay-per-click. Maybe you've done a little bit of it, but I want to give you guys some hard, fast steps here so you'll actually know exactly what you need to do. All right, our R4 system. So this is iMarketing Leader. Well, again, let me introduce myself just so those who do not know me. My name is Todd McPartlin, and I am the co-founder and CEO of iMarketing Leader, and also the author of a book, which we'll see here in 1 second. But here, our iMarketing Leader's R4 marketing system starts with reputation at the bottom, then reach, resell, and referral. And pay-per-click actually focuses on reach, of course, but then also on the resell through the remarketing piece of it. And this is actually from chapter 9 of my book titled Anyone Can Have Traffic as Long as You Have Money. And there's an image of my book, which is available on thousands of websites and 16 countries. So you can find that. Just Google for it. But it's called Automation Domination: A Business Owner's Guide to Dominating Your Market Online. So let's jump right into it. So the agenda for this presentation is 3 phases, three steps here. First, let's go over pay-per-click. Some people are familiar with it, what it is, what it isn't. Kind of go through that. And then I'm going to go into the 12 steps to an effective use of PPC. So pay-per-click is also shortened down to PPC. You'll hear that a lot. I will probably use that mostly. But the effective use of PPC, and the effective there is highlighted for a reason. A lot of people are very ineffective with it. And then the last section is the must-know, some tips and strategies to make this more effective for your company. So let's get in here. So Act 1, what is pay-per-click or PPC? So pay-per-click is really search advertising. So when you're out on Google, and so on Google you have the AdWords side, and then you have the Yahoo/Bing network. So Yahoo and Bing combined a while back. So that's one advertising platform. And then Google, obviously the major dominant player, anywhere between 60 and 80% market share depending on who you ask and when you look at it. But their platform is AdWords, and so we're really talking about the search screen itself. And here's an example. You see them almost every time you do a search. So if you go out to Google, put in some any phrase, you're going to see ads that are on the top here and then over on the right hand side. Depending on what you search for, sometimes you'll see them both, sometimes there won't be any, and that just means that nobody's actually going after that term. But that is what we're talking about. According to Google and some others, about 20% of searchers actually click on the ads. So this is pay-per-click is part of a full-on marketing strategy, right? It's if you got a small budget, it might be somewhere to start. If you have a brand new website, and we'll get into some of those here, it might be somewhere a quick way you can get on page 1. But just remember, only about 20% or so click on these ads. 80% of other people are actually using still the organic listings. A lot of people, and you might be included in this, don't ever click on ads. You just feel it's paid for and you don't want what's paid for, right? So that's just know that 20% of the people still do it, so you want to actually target those people. So it's on the top in the right hand side. So let's talk a little bit about PPC. In 2013, 95% of Google's revenue, $50 billion, came from advertising. They are an advertising company. Through search, you might hear about all their social media through Google Plus and YouTube, and but their main revenue source, 95% of it, is from advertising. And companies like us, small businesses and large businesses, pay that advertising to be in front of more people. And then Yahoo and Bing, they join forces, own about 30% or so, depending on, again, who you ask and where that is. So here are some of the top industries that are advertising on Google AdWords, according to Google. You got finance, travel, shopping. Of course, shopping is a very broad category. Jobs and education, internet, computers and electronics, business. It's number 7. Home and garden. So that'd be all home industries, pest control, insulation, roofing, autos and vehicles, and then beauty and fitness. That's your spas, your hair salons. A lot of people are. You can see this basically almost covers every industry. And if your industry is not on here, you need to really look into Google AdWords and make sure people are actually searching for your services, because everybody has some sort of volume out there. So let's just briefly explain, how does PPC work. So the first step is you create ads, and it's a bidding system. So you might say, I will bid $1 for every click. So the reason it's called pay per click is you pay Google every time someone clicks on your ad. You don't pay them for impressions. That's the banner ads or display ads, and I talked about that in a previous presentation. So if you're looking for that, and I do highly recommend that you take a look at that, go take a look at that one. But this one is a pay per click model, so you get as many impressions as you want for free, and you only are going to pay when someone actually clicks. However, it is a bidding system, so if you're saying you will pay $1 and you're an attorney, for example, other attorneys might be willing to pay 62, 63, 65, hundreds of dollars per click, depending on which market you're in and how competitive that market is. And yes, it is hundreds of dollars per click for some industries. So if you're paying $1 or $2 and you're upset about that, just remember some other people are paying a lot more than you. And it really comes down to that cost per acquisition. How much does it cost for you to bring on a new customer, client, or patient, and what is the lifetime value of that client, and figuring out how much you're willing to pay for that. Now, there's a ton of stuff that goes into figuring out how much you should pay, and I'm not going to have a lot of time to go over that here, and how effective it actually is, right? You might pay $100, but your website better convert pretty high, right? If you're paying $100 for someone to click, because there's accidental clicks, of course. There's fraudulent clicks, which are, maybe your competitors are clicking on there, or they're paying other people to click on there. So just know you're going to spend some money and not get conversions, so you want to make sure that you're well within your conversion rate. So ads appear based on specific keyword searches. So you're actually going to tell, let's use Google for most of our examples here. You're going to tell the AdWords that you want to, for example, on the one that's on the screen here, gas grills, right? So this advertiser, this company, wants to show up for gas grills. So they might say, anytime someone types in gas grills, Google, I want to pay up to $1.50 per click, and that's up to that amount. So if you're the highest bid and the next lowest bid underneath you is 78 cents, you might be at 79 or 80 cents. So that's all on the honor system of Google figuring all that out, or Facebook. All these PPCs, I didn't really mention that in this presentation, but this is also for Facebook as well. Facebook has a pay-per-click, LinkedIn has a pay-per-click model. Just know that those are completely different than how the searching works. So this one, people are specifically looking for your product or service, so it tends to get a little bit higher click-through rates. So the searchers that click through, so that's why I just mentioned click-through rate, you'll also see that abbreviated as CTR. So that's click-through rate, and they'll be taken to the page of your choice within reason, right? These ads are reviewed by Google or Bing or Facebook, whoever you're using, and if they don't like your site for whatever reason, they won't approve your ad. If they don't like your headline or your description or your images, they won't approve your ad. So one of the big things on your landing pages is you want to make sure that your pages are more like a website. right? That Google really doesn't like to send people to squeeze pages. And if you're unfamiliar with the term squeeze pages, go back to a presentation that's on my website about sticky sites for sweet profits, where I kind of go through all the different ones. But Google and all these, they really want to send individuals over to websites that are actually have a lot of value, right? You're trying to get somebody over there and they're going to have a lot of value. And then the last bullet point here is your account gets charged only up until you reach your maximum budget. So this is very important. You need to set a maximum budget, and you should set a maximum budget per day, and you should also set a maximum budget per month. And that's all based on what you can spend, how much you're gonna pay per click. You got to figure all that out, but make sure that you set a maximum budget. And if you hit that daily, then your ad will stop showing, but at least you can kind of control your spending. Let's just say you would spend up to $20 a day, and we'll just use a round number of $1 per click. You can have up to 20 clicks, probably a little bit more depending on the bidding system. But once that daily maximum is reached, then your ad will not show until the next day, and then it will start to process all over again. So this is where some people see their clicks a lot right in the beginning, which could be a lot of fraudulent clicks. So if you are doing this, you need to pay attention and watch when your clicks are actually happening. So here are some of the advantages of using PPC. Ads appear on relevant searches. So as I mentioned before briefly, Facebook and LinkedIn, people aren't really out there searching for a product or service. They're out there on Facebook, they're connecting with friends. LinkedIn, they're probably trying to build some relationships. But on Google, when they're searching for your product or service, they're looking for your company. So by using pay-per-click, you can actually show up when somebody is actually looking for your company. And there's a lot of science and or art that goes into picking your keywords, but you want to focus on buying type keywords, people who are looking for your service and they're wanting to buy it now. So you only pay when someone actually clicks. We've talked about that. It's easy to measure the ROI, your return on your investment. It's real simple to say, hey, I paid $5 per click and I drove 100 people and I closed this many in business. You can easily figure that out, right? Where with SEO, with display ads, with content marketing, with email marketing, sometimes that ROI is a little skewed. This one is a very cut and dry, are you making money, are you not making money? And according to Google, businesses make an average of $2 in revenue for every $1 spent. Now I know a lot of companies that make more than that, and I know a lot of people on their own who are trying to do this that make a lot less than that. So you want to be, obviously shoot for that, 2 to 1. You can make $2 for every dollar you spend. You can do that all day long, right? So make sure you're focusing on that. So another advantage is it levels the playing field. So your small business can actually show up on the first page of Google or Bing, even if you just started your website yesterday or even today. You don't have to wait for Google to find your website and say, oh, this must be, your website must be about grills or photography or spas. You can join those elite players today if you're willing to pay the right price. So you instant reach, so this is the reach part, to massive amounts of qualified prospects. If you do your keyword research right, you'll know exactly how many people, according to Google, on average, are searching for that keyword every single month. So say it was 1,000 people are searching for that. You can instantly step in front of 1,000 qualified prospects just by bidding the right amount and having a great ad. So you could skip the organic SEO waiting game. So search engine optimization, also referred to as SEO, it's still a huge importance. So I don't want to diminish that because we still do that for a lot of clients. Pay-per-click just gets you there faster, but you should be doing SEO behind the scenes. So when the pay-per-click or when the SEO catches up and you start ranking for your keyword, then you can pull back if you wanted to on the pay-per-click, because now you're going to be found the organic way. So let's move into Act 2 and let's actually go through the 12 steps to effective use of PPC for your business. Step 1 is you need to, like anything, define a clear goal. Without a goal, you will have no idea if you're successful. You'll have no idea when to start and to stop. So you need to directly sell products or services. Not many people do pay-per-click just for branding pieces of it. Even though it is still can be used for branding, not many people just use pay-per-click for branding. They're actually trying to sell products or services to their potential prospects. You can generate new leads. So these are different goals that you might have. You want to sell directly. Generate new leads through a request or quote or for more information. If that's your goal, then you need to have a conversion process to capture those leads so they can actually request a quote for more information. So the direct selling one, products or services, that could be an e-commerce site. For example, if you're on an e-commerce site, you want to push people to your t-shirt shop, right? You want people to buy your t-shirts. Or maybe you have a website that actually converts people into buying one of your services. If not, you might fall in the second category here where you actually want to generate leads, so people will reach out, maybe fill out your contact form, pick up the phone, they might actually call you, or just fill out a request. The third bullet point here is to funnel visitors through an email marketing sequence. So this might be offering and having an opt-in on your website, for a free ebook or a coupon, and you want to push them into some sort of marketing sequence that you've already built. And the last one here that I've already mentioned is to build brand awareness. Although it's not the major focus of a lot of people who do pay-per-click, it still could be a great use. If you're doing display advertising and you're on TV and the radio and doing print, and when someone goes to search for you, they see ads by you, and they see you showing up in search engines optimization through the SEO, the organic side. Now you've kind of had that full circle, complete branding dominance, and a lot of people want to work with companies who are the dominant players. So here are a couple examples of different business models and goals, and maybe some metrics that you can actually look at. So I'll kind of go through this quickly here. I'll send out a replay. You can pause it and write down some of these if you want. But if you're a merchant or a producer, your goal is probably sales. So the metric would be, what's your cost per conversion? How many clicks? What's your value versus cost? Your indirect conversions, number of conversions. So on the website side, because we want to track everything, so we need to have information on the website to be able to track this information as well. If you're doing sales, you need some e-commerce tracking. How much did people buy versus how much did you sell? That's where that ROI, you can easily figure that out. And then you also want to look at your purchase funnel with the drop-off rates and the bounce rates. So with proper analytics, you can figure out how many pages someone goes through before they drop off. They might start at your home page, and by the time it gets to your cart, you might be at 1 or 2% conversion. You need to figure out that process, and with analytics you can do that. The second one here, lead generation. So if you're looking for just leads, maybe you're a realtor looking for home buyers or listings, you're trying to sell like an ebook or give away an ebook. The goal there is obviously a lead or maybe a download. So some of the metrics you might use are cost per conversion. Again, the number of conversions. It might just be, hey, how many conversions did I get? How many people filled out my form? How many people called me? So some of on the website metric side, you want to have goals, goal values, and then bounce rate. So bounce rate is when someone comes to your page and then they leave right away. They don't go to another page, they don't spend any time there. That's considered a bounce rate. That's bad in the eyes of Google, and you start to get dinged for that. And the same is true with a pay-per-click model. If someone clicks on your ad and they go to your page and they come right back, then Google believes that you are not as high of quality for that particular word, and that can actually hurt you. If you're a publisher, you're just worrying about content. You're trying to get my website, iMarketingLeader.com, is a very publishing type website where I'm just trying to put out as much content, help business owners, and show that I'm actually the authority in this. So I publish a lot of content. So my goal is traffic. More traffic equals more leads. So I worry about clicks and cost per click, but then I also look at some of these metrics, unique visitors, the time on the site, page views. How long did they spend on each page? How many pages did they visit? That will show you how well, if you're a publisher, how well your content is with your audience. And the last one here, which I believe all of us should be, is you're a brander. Every one of us should be worrying about our brand, our company image. We worry about it, on our trucks and on our shirts, and the way but a lot of us lose that brand online, and that's where you need it. This is where people start. So if you're a brander, your goal might just be pure awareness. This is where an advertising metric might be impressions. You might not necessarily care or even want somebody to click on one of your ads, because when they click on your pay-per-click ad, you have to pay. If the ad just shows up, that's just an impression. Now, Google does want the clicks because that's how they get paid. So if your ad never gets a click, even if you're bidding high, they might push you down because they do look at that cost per click and that the number of clicks per impression. Some of the website metrics you might look at if you were a brander: the percent of new visits, pages per visit, time on the site, and again, bounce rate. So you can see bounce rate is on all of these because Google looks at that for ranking purposes and for just overall how relevant are you for that particular keyword. Step 2, that was all in step 1. Step 2 is research your competitors. What ads are they using? How often are they showing up? The copy, which is the ad words, the length of the ad. Sometimes less is better, sometimes more is better. The headline. You want to look for all those different ones of what your competitors are doing, and you don't want to copy them, but you want to imitate what they're doing. So here's a tip: pay attention to the ads that show up first over and over again. They most likely have somebody doing their pay-per-click for them. If the ads are changing a lot and they keep showing up on the top, they're not doing the set it and forget it that a lot of small business owners do. You really need to pay attention when you're doing pay-per-click, and that's why a lot of small businesses fail at this. So if you're going to do it yourself and going to it yourself, just pay attention, review it every single day, maybe even a couple times a day. And what other keywords are people likely targeting? Move on to step 3, keyword research. Now I can do a whole entire training on keyword research and the way to do it and way not to do it. This is just a single step of the 12-step process. Just know that this is part art, part science, but you want to discover exactly what people are searching for. You want to learn their preferred keywords and then find out how heavy the competition is across the keywords. Now there are a ton of different keyword tools. Google recently just revamped their Google keyword tool, and you can just Google that. Just Google Google's keyword tool. You'll find it. You'll need an AdWords account, which is free to set up, and you can get right into that account and actually figure out volume. They'll give you ideas because, again, that's 95% of Google's revenue. They are going to make it as easy as possible for you to figure out what keyword you want, how much you should spend, how much you should bid, and how to create an ad. So it's a very simple process to get going. The art and the science piece of it is actually creating the ad, monitoring it, and tracking it. So step 4 is to choose your destination wisely. You need to decide where you're going to send your visitors who actually click on one of your ads. And this is almost as important as the ad itself. So the ad itself, you got the headline, maybe an image, and the copy. And then after they click on that ad, you want to make sure that that destination is consistent with that ad's message. Far too many times I see people sending them right to their homepage. Hear me now. Most people do not want to go to your homepage. If you're advertising a particular t-shirt, send them to the t-shirt page so they can check out. We are lazy searchers, right? We want as few clicks as possible, and it might actually be on a mobile device. But within a few clicks, we want to be able to get where we want to, get through. Want to figure out what compelled me to click on that ad. I want to see that as soon as I land on that page. That's where the bounce rate you'll start seeing really high, as if your landing page is not consistent with your ad. So it needs to be designed for conversions. Are you going to do a email list sign up, a request a quote? Is the phone number on there, right? Is it a tracking phone number? Tracking phone numbers have kind of come and gone depending on how Google feels about them. Right now, Google does not like tracking numbers because they want your name, address, and phone number to be completely in sync across all directories. But you might have a phone number in the ad, which is not necessarily the phone number on your website. But you really want to design it for conversions. Again, if you're an attorney and you're paying $125 a click, you better capture some information about that person. Moving on to step 5, create a high converting ad. So you'll notice this is step 5. This came after we talked about the destination. That's how important a destination page is. Because now you can work backwards and say, okay, my page is about this. Now how do I create a high converting ad? So some of the best practices, you need to know them and search out them. You need to review your headline, message, offer, and destination. Right? The first thing people are going to see is most likely the headline. Google puts those up, in blue, sometimes bolded with the keyword. That's going to be the first thing that individuals see. And on Google, you don't get to see images very often. And the next thing is they're going to read your message and with your offer. The more clear you are on your offer, the less non-successful clicks you will have. If your goal is to drive traffic to your website, then you want the offer to be very generic, the message to be very kind of vague almost. You still want people to know what you're asking for, but maybe they don't know exactly. Maybe they don't know the price. But if you're very concerned on your product click-through rate and the pricing, and you're selling a t-shirt, let's use that example again, you might want to say $10 t-shirts. Well, if someone's not willing to pay $10, then they're not going to click on your ad, right? And you want to differentiate your offer to make it stand out from your competition. So again, when we reviewed your competitors, you don't want to do exactly what they're doing, because then, if you're getting outbid by them, you're never gonna win over your clientele. Step 6, add some local flavor. So in a recent study, 72% of people that Google surveyed want to see local ads. Right? They don't want to see the big guys. Everybody knows the big guys. They're on TV. You hear about them all the time. They're out there for branding purposes. But most of us want to see local. And it's proven to boost your return on your investment. So here's an example, Denver web design. Okay, local Denver, call now. Right? If you're not in Denver, first of all, you probably wouldn't even see this ad. But if you are in Denver, hey, this is not just some company in California or Texas or India. This is a Denver company. More likely to click on it. You want to try to use local slang where possible, right? Where I am in College Station, I might put Aggies, right? I might do something with that for Texas A&M. You want to really focus on some local slang if you can actually do that. You want to display a local phone number and or street address. Let people know that you're local. Right? You can see that there's an address here, and we'll show in a couple slides. We'll go through how you actually put that in there. But again, that's showing someone that you're local. You're trying to get their attention. And a local phone number will do that. Even if you're not local, you can still look local by doing local ads. Step 7, you want to place the right bid. So being first might always not be the best. Some people skip right over the first one. Maybe they don't see it. Maybe it's too high on the screen. Maybe their eyes don't go there right away. The first position also gets a lot of junk clicks. These are the competitors clicking on it. They're thinking that guy's bidding the most, which he is, to get up there, but maybe he's got the biggest budget. Let's get him out of the way. The higher positions cost more. In a lot of our testing, positions 3 and 4 are usually the best. But again, that's all different on market, different with your ads, different of your competition. So you really want to place the right bid. You might have to play with that a little bit and really monitor your cost per click and your ROI. Step number 8, focus on profitable keywords. Determine a winning keyword phrase that gets you the results. Figure out what the word is or words that are going to send you the most money. So it's back to that buyer keywords. On the second bullet point here, it says focus on your money keywords. And then you want to milk them for as long as possible. So money keywords are the ones that are going to bring you the most money. So if you're a dentist, dental implants, you can see from this screenshot, very high competition. Why? Because that costs a lot of money. right? Teeth cleaning, if you're a dentist, you know that kind of pays the bills. But implants, teeth whitening, orthodontist, those actually build a profitable business. And you want to be testing new keywords regularly, but using a small budget. Again, Google makes this very easy where you can just give a little bit of money and do a little bit of testing and do some different testing on it, and that comes under step 9, but you want to measure your results. So you can use call tracking technology. Be careful on your website. Again, Google wants all those to be consistent. There are some services out there that will do dynamic call tracking, and if they know it's Google, they know it's a robot, they'll actually show them a different number than another person. But you can use a phone number, a call tracking phone number in your actual ad, and it might be a different one than your website. So if you have a phone number in your ad, someone may never click on it, they may actually just call you. And then guess what? That's a free lead. You must place Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools on all pages of your website. This is going to help you accurately measure acquisition, behavior, and outcomes of your visitors. You can measure the entire customer journey from click all the way through conversion. You'll know where they came from, what pages they visited, and how long they actually visit each of those, and you can walk them right through all the way down to your goal, which could be traffic generation, could be a purchase, could be filling out a form. But you must measure it, right? I should have probably made that step 1, measure your results. Step 10, focus on your ROI, not the costs. Far too many people say, oh, that costs me $125 a click. I know, but how much did it make you? Right? You want to focus on your return on your investment, not necessarily what the investment cost actually is. So stay committed to winning the campaign that delivers a positive ROI. But again, your only way you're going to do this is through measurement. You need to measure your cost per lead and then your cost per customer or patient or client, depending on what industry you're in. You want to measure both of those. How much does it cost to get the lead? And then how many did you actually convert? Because maybe the conversion process is your problem. Maybe the person answering your phone isn't closing them. Maybe a sales rep who's returning a phone call is not very good. So you want to know the cost per lead and then the cost per click. And don't be penny wise and dollar foolish or afraid of your competition. Don't pinch pennies because you're worried about your cost. Now, if you're on a budget, obviously you need to look at that. Pay-per-click is typically not for people who run a very small budget. It does cost some money to get in a groove and figure out what is actually working for you. So you want to make sure you have the budget that you can actually do this, and that's number 1 on this thing is stay committed. Step number 11, very important here, is using remarketing. Far too many business owners, again, have no idea what remarketing or retargeting, sometimes referred to, actually is. So I'm going to briefly explain it here. You should be using this even if you're not in an active PPC campaign. You should still have remarketing set up on your website so you can follow your visitors around and increase that branding. So it follows your target audience. So here's some Jane who's surfing on the web. She visits your website. She gets distracted for whatever reason and leaves your website. But on all these popular websites, your ad starts showing up, and these ads do have images. They can be moving and very eye appealing, very attention getting. And those ads may be bringing her back. And first of all, the click-through rate is far cheaper than it is on the search side. But then also your branding, because now you are on these popular websites, your branding, you appear to be much larger than you actually are. Because again, a lot of business owners aren't setting up remarketing, they've never even heard of it. So the clients I work with are completely dominating because they're a smaller company, but they look huge because they're out on these major websites. So bullet point here shows 2 shows your ads to visitors who have previously visited your website. So if someone came to your website, however they got there, they were probably interested in your product or service. If they didn't convert for whatever reason, it might be in that 7 to 12 touches. Well, we need to get in front of them. So your ads appear on major websites, and it keeps your brand top of mind. So again, that 7 to 12 touches it takes before somebody actually buys. You want to be in front of them. Here are a couple of examples of banners. You got one across the top, you got the square one on the side, sometimes you have the tall vertical one. But that just makes you appear much, much larger. Step 12 here, the final one, always split test. So this goes back to measuring, but you want to continually measure, improve, and optimize your ads. And the only way to do that is to keep tweaking them. You're never going to know without testing what exactly is going to get people to click. You want to test the most important factors, so obviously the keywords, what keywords show up, or have your ad show up, the headline, because that's the first one, and the copy and the offer. So you can see on the right hand side here we have 3 different ads, but the copy is different. So if you look at them closely, you'll see some subtle differences. And those subtle differences are, if you're through your tracking, you might notice that men and women with the ampersand doesn't convert as high as when you put the word kids in there. Maybe for this one, for the spa and salon, a lot of people think it's for kids, right? This ad here, the bottom one, has Peoria in it. That is local. That may convert higher than these two. You need to look at that. You need to monitor it. You need to track it. So you want to stop when you see gains of 10% or less, and then focus on the big wins. So when you're doing split testing, you're not spending a ton of money on all the different ads. You're putting a little bit of budget in each one of them, figuring out what ads actually work, testing it and tracking it. And when you find a winner, you want to start putting more money towards that one, and then bring on another ad to try to compete and beat that one out. Alright, let's move into the final phase here, the Act 3, must-know tips and strategies. So what we've been talking about here is the search network. So that's when you're actually out on Google.com, Bing.com, Yahoo.com, and you're actually doing a physical search. What we did not cover is the display network. So you see on the right hand side, you can choose where you want your search displayed. A very common mistake is to show the same ads on both search and display, right? Google puts that up there on the top for a reason, because they know they want your ads to show up more often. But the display network is totally different. Those are not people that are searching for a particular keyword. Now it's going to show up on relevant sites, but they're not searching for a particular keyword. They're not in the active mode of buying. So your ad needs to be different to those people. That's more about branding. That's more about remarketing, right? So we did briefly talked about the remarketing. Remarketing is on the display network. That's not on Google.com. That is on sites that actually have Google AdSense on them. So it requires a completely different strategy, and it's a very common mistake to click that first checkbox, search and display networks. Don't do that if you have a small budget. Do search network only, because those are at least the active buyers. Alright, so remember to get into a couple of the more advanced features, but you really want to take a look at these, and you might need to do some more Googling and figuring out exactly how to set these up, but that is pretty easy to set up. So the first one is dynamic keywords. So you can dynamically insert the keyword into the ad. So if you look at the ads on the bottom here, we got chocolate bars, lollipops, brown bread. They're all going to the same company, but depending on the keyword that was put in, the ad will change. It really makes that ad more relevant, because now that keyword that somebody really searched for now might show up in the headline or in the copy, or actually even in the URL. So you can see that one says chocolate bars down here. And this allows you actually to have unlimited number of ads, because you don't exactly know what the keyword is that someone's going to type in. You still want to narrow that down so it's in that same range of your keywords, but it really allows you to create an ad once, maybe you found that super compelling copy that's working, and now you just need to plug and play the different keywords. You can do that through dynamic keywords. The use of ad extensions. So you saw this in one of the examples before, but it's different information that you can actually add into your ad. So an example is you can put your reviews in here. If you have a great review, you want to show that. First of all, it'll break up the eye when someone is looking at the different ads, because your ad is going to stand out, and that's what these ad extensions are for. They're to stand out. You can put your phone number in there. You can put your address in there. On one of the ones you saw that there was an address in there with the little bubble. That is actually so it can break up someone's vision, and then it also shows that you're local, right? It makes the ad stand out, and it really has a huge dramatic increase in the response. So a couple of different things you can do is you can put the +1s. That's Google's +1s. If you have a bunch of people that are liking your website, you want to show that. Your rating, again, back to that reputation piece that I talked about in the beginning, that's humongous. If you have a great 5-star rating, and this one, for example, 374 reviews, or this one over here with 5,900 reviews, 4 something, that's a lot of people are going to look at that. And obviously that's Overstock.com, so that's a big company, and that's Amazon, but that's for a particular product on that one. That's that seller's reviews. You could put promotions in there. I talked about the address already. You can add links into there, different links into your website, and then phone numbers. Again, you can get someone to call you, and then you don't even have to go a click. So the last one here, maybe you got to get off of Google. We talked about Google this whole time. Google's the major player, but there are other networks that actually can be great. You got Yahoo, 7search.com, Bing. They're much smaller, but less competition. Maybe it's where you go test out some ads. Look for that landing page. If you're in a market where it's very expensive for, we talked about the attorneys. Maybe if you went over and looked at the Bing network, maybe you don't have to pay $125 a click. So you want to test that landing page out. Maybe you're at the $75 or $60 a click. Now, just remember, there's a lot less people searching for it, so you're going to have less volume coming through as well. But oftentimes you can get a larger ROI. Again, that's the thing we're aiming for here, is an ROI. We're not worrying about spending the most money, and we're not worried about how much it costs us for each click. We're worrying about that ROI. So sometimes getting off of Google and onto these other networks might actually help that out. If you have a much larger budget, you'll want to be on all the networks. Take those same ads that are working on Google, move them over to Bing, and watch them work over there as well. So finally, here is just our any Q&A. You can contact us at iMarketingLeader.com. You can give us a call here. My phone number's on the screen, 979-314-7213. I want to thank everybody for being on the call here. I want to wrap this up so you guys can get back to your day. But if you do have any questions, or if you really want help with this, we're very good at PPC for Facebook as well. So if you're looking for that help, reach out to us, give us a call, drop us an email, go visit our website, and I look forward to speaking with you and seeing how we can help your business grow. Thank you, everybody.